Have you ever rocked up to the wrong house and almost walked into a brand new family by accident? It was my first Christmas in Sydney. I'm Liam Carter, a food engineer, and I was fully prepared to spend the day in my tiny flat, eating instant noodles in 30-degree heat while everyone else fired up the Barbie with their families. Then, my workmate Josh messages me. "Oi, mate, you're not spending Christmas on your own. Get to my girlfriend's place, super casual. Bring a bottle." So I grab a decent bottle of red and a homemade pumpkin pie with my nan's recipe, punch the address into maps, and rock up to 243 Emerald Street, thinking I've nailed it. I ring the bell. Door swings open. Lovely older lady, apron on, big smile. "Oh, you must be Chloe's boyfriend. Come in, love. We've been waiting for you." And in about 5 minutes, I've got a drink in my hand, I'm being introduced to her dad, her aunt, her granddad, her little brother. Only one tiny problem. I have never met Chloe in my life. And just when I'm trying to figure out how to explain that, Chloe walks in, eyes red from crying, looks straight at me and says, "That is not my boyfriend. So who the hell are you?" Want to know what happened next? "That is not my boyfriend. So who the hell are you?" Every knife and fork on the table goes still. 8 people turn to stare at me. There's gravy on my plate, turkey half cut, a glass of red sweating in my hand, and this woman I've never met in my life is standing in the doorway, eyes red from crying, looking at me like I've broken into her house. In that second, with the aircon humming and the smell of roast potatoes hanging in the air, I realize something very simple and very horrible. I am in the wrong house. My name is not Blake. I am not her boyfriend. I am Liam Carter, a food engineer from Brisbane who has somehow managed to crash a family Christmas in Sydney. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To explain how I ended up at the wrong table, sitting in the wrong seat, in front of the wrong girl on the worst day of her life, we have to go back a bit. Back to the part where all of this was still just another hot, lonely December in Australia. It starts in a tiny one-bedroom flat in inner west Sydney, with off-white walls that the real estate ad called neutral and I call soul-sucking. No decorations, no photos, just a sagging couch from Facebook Marketplace, a TV on a crate, and a fan doing absolutely nothing against the 30-degree heat seeping in through the windows. I've been staring at those walls for almost 2 months. 2 months since I packed my life into 3 suitcases, left Brisbane, and moved down for a great opportunity at a food processing company. 2 months of learning a new city, a new job, a new bus timetable that makes no sense. 2 months of pretending I'm fine being here alone. It's Christmas Eve, but you wouldn't know it from my flat. No tree, no fairy lights, no tinsel. The only nod to the season is a sad packet of supermarket mince pies I bought on special and haven't opened yet. Back home, Mum would be marinating prawns for the Barbie. Dad would be swearing at the cricket on TV. My little cousin would be trying to open presents early. And Nan would be in the kitchen, flour on her apron, humming along to some old carol while she checked on the pumpkin pie. Nan's gone now. She died last year, quietly, in her sleep, a week after Christmas. We didn't know that last Christmas would be the last one. If we had, maybe I would have paid more attention when she pressed the stained recipe card into my hand and said, "You're the food scientist, love. You keep this one alive." Instead, I'd laughed and said something about converting her measurements into grams, and she'd swatted me with a tea towel and told me not to ruin it by getting fancy. Now I keep the recipe in the top drawer of my tiny kitchen, folded neatly between takeaway menus. I haven't been brave enough to make it since the funeral. I look at the microwave clock. 4:02 p.m., Christmas Eve. If I were in Brisbane, we'd be arguing about whether to do roast or cold meats this year. Mum would be telling Dad it's too hot for a full roast, and Dad would be loading the trolley with potatoes anyway. Nan would quietly do both, because she wouldn't let anyone go without their favorite thing. Instead, I'm standing in my kitchen alone, in a city where the only people who know my name are my boss, the HR lady, and a barista who calls me Champ because I was too shy to correct him the first time. I'm scrolling mindlessly through my phone, pretending not to care that I have no plans tomorrow, when a notification pops up. It's from Josh Bennett, the closest thing I have to a mate at work. Josh is one of those blokes who can talk to anyone. He knows everyone in the office by name, from the CEO to the guy who fixes the printer. He's been trying, in his loud, easy way, to drag me into the social side of things since I started. "Oi, mate," his message reads. "You sorted for Christmas tomorrow?" I stare at the screen. My thumb hovers over the keyboard. I could lie. Say I'm flying home. Say I'm doing something. Anything. Instead, I type, "Yeah, just keeping it low-key. Bit of cooking, bit of Netflix." The dots appear immediately. Translation: "You're spending it on your own like a sad sack." I snort, despite myself. "I'll be fine, really," I type. "Got a pile of reports to read. Peak food scientist behavior." "Absolutely not," he fires back. "You're not doing paperwork on Christmas Day. My girlfriend's doing lunch at her parents' place. Big spread, heaps of food. Too much, honestly. She said I can bring whoever. Come with. Dead serious." I hesitate, staring at the message. It's not that I don't want to go. It's that the thought of walking into a stranger's family Christmas makes my stomach twist. There's a special kind of awkward in being the random from work hovering at the edge of group photos, clutching a plate. "You sure it's not weird?" I type. Don't want to crash a family thing. "Mate, we're Aussie. There's always room for one more at the table," he sends. "Her folks are lovely, proper old school. You bring a bottle of red and you're family." I look around my flat again, at the bare walls, the empty kitchen, the single plate drying on the rack. Being alone tomorrow suddenly feels less peaceful and independent, and more pathetic. "All right," I type, throat tight. "If you're sure." "Bloody oath. Address is 234 Emerald Street, 6 p.m. Casual. Shorts and a decent shirt. Bring wine or something. And don't back out. I'll tell them you're coming." He sends a thumbs up emoji and a Christmas tree, like it's settled. 234 Emerald Street. I read it 3 times, committing it to memory. Outside, somewhere down the street, a group of neighbors are already playing music. Someone lets off an early cracker, and the bang makes me flinch. A magpie cackles in the distance. The sky is that harsh, bright blue that only exists in December here, the kind that makes everything too sharp. I put my phone down on the counter and open the top drawer. The recipe card is still there, the paper gone soft at the edges, Nan's looping handwriting fading slightly where my fingers always land. "Nan's Christmas pumpkin pie," it says at the top. "Do not mess with this, Liam." I smile, even though my chest aches. "I'm going to a stranger's house for Christmas, Nan," I say out loud, to no one. If there was ever a time not to mess it up, it's now. I set the card on the bench and start pulling ingredients from the pantry. Flour, sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, pumpkin puree, butter. As I line them up, the kitchen starts to feel a little less empty, like I've summoned a ghost with my measuring cups. Baking is the one place my job and my heart overlap perfectly. At work, it's all protein bars and shelf stability, pH levels and packaging. Here, it's just me, a mixing bowl, and the memory of Nan's hands guiding mine. I preheat the oven, roll up my sleeves, and start. For a while, there's only the sound of the whisk against the bowl and the soft whir of the fan. I get lost in the rhythm of it, the scent of spices, the way the batter thickens, the way the pastry dough comes together under my palms. I can almost hear Nan behind me, making little approving noises, correcting my technique, telling me not to overwork the dough. By the time the pie goes into the oven, the flat smells like my childhood, rich and sweet and comforting. I lean against the counter and close my eyes, breathing it in. The walls don't feel quite so harsh in this light. My phone buzzes again. Mum. Hey, love, you at the airport yet? Or did we mix the dates up? I swallow. I hadn't told her I wasn't coming home this year. It always felt like a conversation for later, for when things settled down, when I could afford the flights, when I had more than a contract and a shoebox flat. Hey, Mum, I type back instead of calling, because I'm a coward. Didn't want to stress you, but work's a bit crazy. Can't get away this year. I'll come up for Australia Day, yeah? 3 dots. Then, oh, sweetheart, we miss you already. Nan would have told your boss to shove it and made you come home. I laugh, and it comes out wet. Yeah, she would have, I reply. I'll call you tomorrow. Love you. Love you too. Don't spend the day working. Do something nice. Treat yourself. I look at the oven, at the pie slowly turning golden, at the bottle of red I bought on the way home, just in case. Working on it, I type. Christmas Day arrives bright and loud. The sun's already fierce when I wake up. Someone on the next balcony is playing carols on a Bluetooth speaker, and it clashes with the sound of a lawnmower somewhere down the block. I shower, chuck on a clean pair of shorts, a light blue short-sleeved shirt that almost passes for presentable, and stand in front of the mirror. Don't be weird, I tell my reflection. Say thank you. Don't talk about pH levels. Try not to look like you miss your Nan so much you could choke. I wrap the pie carefully in foil and slide it into a reusable shopping bag, nestling it in like it's made of glass. The bottle of red goes in next. Decent stuff, not cheap, not fancy. Safe. Before I leave, I take a photo of the pie and send it to Mum. Guess what I made? I caption it. Nan would be so proud, she replies almost instantly. Hope you're not eating it all on your own. I hesitate, thumb hovering. Got invited to a mate's girlfriend's family lunch, I type. Promise I won't. Love you. Good boy. Enjoy. Call me later. Kuss kuss. I lock the door behind me and step out into the heat. The air hits me like a wall. Within seconds, my shirt sticks to my back. The pie bag swings gently at my side like a pendulum, marking the beats of my nerves. The streets are quiet in that particular Christmas way. Most people already inside, air cons on full blast, kitchens going full tilt. A few kids pedal past on new bikes. Somewhere, someone's burning sausages already. I slide into my car, crank the aircon, and plug my phone into the charger. Maps opens, bright and smug. Destination? It asks, silently. I type 234 Emerald Street. The little blue line appears, winding its way through unfamiliar streets. 25 minutes, no traffic. Easy. As I drive, Sydney rolls past the windows, clusters of brick units, Federation houses with peeling paint, jacaranda trees that have dropped most of their flowers now, but still cling to a few purple ghosts. The closer I get to Emerald Street, the leafier it becomes. Big front yards, verandas with chairs out the front. The kind of place where kids ride scooters on the footpath, and everyone knows which bin day is whose. The hallway is lined with framed photos, school photos, wedding photos, a couple of sun-bleached beach shots. A younger version of the woman at the door is in half of them, alongside a bloke with a full head of dark hair that's now mostly gone to gray. 2 kids morph from toddlers to teenagers to adults as the photos climb the wall. The same faces, year after year. The same house, by the look of it. This is a lived-in place, a house that's been the backdrop for a lifetime. It hits me in the chest so hard I forget to breathe for a second. I bend down, more to collect myself than anything, and untie my shoes. My hands are shaking just enough that the knots feel suddenly complicated. "Right," the woman says, turning back to me. "I'm Karen, by the way." She gestures vaguely at her own chest. "I don't think we've officially met. I've heard a lot about you, though." "About me?" I croak. She beams. "Of course. Now, you can call me Karen, or Kaz, or Oi, you with the spoon, whatever works. Come meet the rest of the circus." She doesn't wait to see if I follow. She just assumes I will. And the thing is, I do. Because the alternative is what, exactly? Standing alone in the hallway of this strange, warm house, clutching my doubts? Walking back out into the hot, bright street and admitting I've chickened out of the first human invitation I've had in weeks? "Don't be weird," I mutter under my breath, and trail after her. The living room opens up at the end of the hall, big, light, with a slightly sagging couch and a recliner that looks like it's seen some things. The TV in the corner is showing the cricket on mute. A string of tinsel droops from a bookshelf overloaded with paperbacks, old DVDs, and a ceramic Santa that's missing a hand. On the couch, a lanky teenage boy in a faded band tee is hunched over his phone, thumbs moving at light speed. An older man in a short-sleeve button-up and shorts, Peter, I assume, is perched on the arm of the recliner, chatting with a woman in her 40s who's balancing a platter of canapés. In the recliner itself is an old bloke with a shock of white hair and a face like crumpled paper, wearing a Christmas crown that's slipped over one eyebrow. They all look up at once. "Oh, there he is," the woman with the platter says. She puts it down and stands, smoothing her top instinctively. "Finally! We were starting to think you'd gotten lost." "Wouldn't be the first time a bloke's chickened out of meeting the family," Peter says, but he's grinning as he crosses the room, hand outstretched. "Good to finally meet you, mate." I take his hand, because refusing would be weirder. His grip is firm, warm, very real. I start. "This is my husband, Peter," Karen barrels over me. "This is my sister, Michelle, Dad, Ron, on the throne, and that creature on the couch is Tyler. Put the phone down, say hello." Tyler flicks his eyes up for half a second, gives me a nod that's more an acknowledgement of my existence than a greeting, and goes straight back to his screen. "Hi," I say, to all of them, feeling like someone's pointed a bunch of cameras at me. "Thanks for having me." "Don't be silly," Michelle says. "Family lunch, the more the merrier. I'm Michelle, or Shelley if you're in trouble." She gives me a quick hug before I can dodge it, smelling faintly of perfume and roast garlic. "Right then," Peter says, clapping his hands once in that way dads do when they're trying to move things along. "Got you a glass of red poured already. Kaz said you're a red man." He hands me a glass that's somehow appeared from nowhere. The wine sloshes dangerously close to the rim as I take it. Red man. I haven't told them that. Josh must have. Except Josh doesn't know these people. A small, cold knot starts forming somewhere under my ribs. "Sit down, love," Karen says. "Chloe'll be here any minute. She had to pop back into the restaurant for something. You know how it is. Chefs, always putting out fires. Literal and metaphorical." Restaurant. Chef. That doesn't sound like Josh's girlfriend. I'm 80% sure he said marketing at some agency or other. The one with the free kombucha and beanbags. I lower myself onto the edge of the couch, between Tyler's absorbed bubble of screen light and the armrest, and take a sip of wine to cover my confusion. It's good. Too good to be the sort of thing you pour for some random who might not show.
Don't look so nervous, Michelle says kindly, misreading my expression. We don't bite. Well, Ron does, but only if you touch his pudding. Ron snorts, the Christmas crown bouncing. He looks like he's about to sit a job interview, poor bugger. Relax, son. Worst we'll do is ask you why you're not marrying her yet. Everyone laughs. I try to join in. It comes out thin. Ask me why I'm not marrying who? I should probably just check, I say, clutching my glass a little tighter. This is Josh's girlfriend's parents' place, yeah?
And you just went with it? Chloe cuts in, incredulous. You just sat down at my family's table, ate our food, let my mum believe you were the guy I've been dating for 6 months? Her voice is rising now, climbing to a pitch that makes me wince. I tried to fix it, I say, hating how defensive it sounds. In the hallway, in the living room, in the kitchen. It just never felt like the right moment, and I know that's a bullshit excuse, but you didn't, she says. You didn't fix it. You just enjoyed the show. Peter stands up slowly. He's not a big man, but right now he feels huge. I think you should leave, he says. There's no shout, no theatrics, just a flat, cold statement that hits harder than if he'd yelled. Peter, Karen starts. No, he says, not taking his eyes off me. He's been sitting in my house, in my daughter's boyfriend's seat, lying by omission all arvo. He doesn't get to stay for pudding. He can go. I'm so sorry, I say, and the words feel useless. Tiny. I never meant to. I didn't want to. I look at Karen. Her face is crumpled, hurt and confusion warring in her expression. You should have told us, she says quietly. From the start. I know, I whisper. I know. Chloe's arms are folded so tightly I'm surprised they don't snap. Get out, she says. Please. I've had a bad enough day already without adding random imposter to the list. The worst part is that she's right. I grab my glass, realize how stupid that is, put it down again. My hands don't know what to do with themselves. My whole body feels like it's buzzing, disconnected. The hallway seems 3 times as long on the way back. The family photos blur as I pass them. There's my bag by the front door where I left it. The pie dish I brought is on the sideboard, foil peeled back. A slice is missing. Someone's eaten it. For some reason, that hits me harder than anything else. I shove my feet into my shoes. My fingers fumble with the laces. When I straighten up, Chloe's there in the hallway, leaning against the wall, arms still folded. There's a smear of mascara on her cheek she hasn't noticed. I am really, really sorry, I say, keeping my voice low so it doesn't carry back down the hall. You're right. I should have been honest. It just got away from me. She snorts, but there's less heat in it now, more exhaustion. Do you make a habit of this? She asks. Crashing random people's Christmases? No, I say. First time, 0 stars, would not recommend. Her mouth twitches, just a little. Look, I say, for whatever it's worth, Blake's a coward. Breaking up with you by text on Christmas Day, that's not on. You deserved better than that. You don't know me, she says, but there's no venom in it. Just tired. I know your mum's really proud of you, I say. She told me how you ditched pre-med to become a chef anyway. How you fought him on it. I nod vaguely towards the dining room. And he came round when he saw you happy. I know your family loves you enough to set a place for your boyfriend and interrogate him about his intentions. And I know you make a mean spinach dip, apparently. That's 3 solid data points, She stares at me for a long moment. "Is there anything about you that was real?" she asks finally. "Or was this all just some sort of performance?" "Everything except the name," I say, "and the part where I was meant to be here. That was an accident. A stupid, lucky accident for me, and a bloody awful one for you." She exhales slowly, like she's letting go of something. "Get out of here, Carter," she says, but it's softer now. "Before Dad decides to call the cops." "Yes, Chef," I say automatically. Her eyebrow lifts, and for the first time, there's the ghost of a proper smile. The voice carries down the hallway, strained and raw. Every head at the table turns towards the doorway. She appears there like she's been pulled on a string. Dark hair pulled back in a messy knot, chef's jacket peeking out from under her unbuttoned shirt, skin shiny with sweat from the heat outside and the kitchen she's just come from. Her eyes are red and swollen, mascara smudged. There's a tremor in her jaw where she's holding herself together by the thinnest of threads. Even crying, she's striking. Not in a glossy magazine way, in a real way. Like someone you'd trust to feed you something that mattered. "Chloe," Karen breathes. She's halfway out of her chair in an instant. "What's happened, love?" Chloe doesn't answer straight away. Her gaze sweeps the table, taking in the plates, the food, the bonbons, the empty chair. And then it lands on me. Time stutters. For one long, suspended moment, we just stare at each other. Me, frozen with my hand still around my wine glass. Her, with the front door still open behind her, heat and light pouring in around her silhouette. Confusion flickers across her face first, then something like horror. "Who?" she starts, voice hoarse. She swallows, tries again. "Who's that?" Karen blinks, thrown off. "What do you mean, who's that? That's Liam." The name hangs in the air between us like a wrong note. Chloe's brows slam together. "No, it's not," she says. "That's not Liam." She's looking straight at me now. Really looking. I feel naked under it, exposed. "That is not my boyfriend," she says, louder this time, words cracking down the middle. "So who the hell is he?" It's like someone's yanked the power cord out of the wall. The entire room goes dead quiet. Ron's fork hovers mid-air. Michelle's mouth is open. Tyler's eyes are actually off his phone. Peter's face is suddenly, frighteningly blank. All the blood drains from my head. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. Karen turns slowly to look at me, color leached from her cheeks. "But you're—" "I'm not," I say before she can finish. The word scrapes my throat on the way out. I'm not him." "What?" Peter says, his voice low and dangerous. "What do you mean you're not him?" My chair scrapes against the floor as I push back and stand up, palms sweating, knees shaking. "I think," I say, forcing each word out, "there's been a huge mistake." I can hear myself, and I hate the way it sounds. Weak. Pathetic. Barely scratching the surface of what this actually is. Chloe steps further into the room, staring at me like she's trying to place me in some mental lineup of nightmares. "Where is he?" she demands. "Where's Liam?" "Love, what's going on?" Karen asks, voice wobbling. "You said he was coming. You said he'd messaged you from the car." Chloe laughs, a short, humorless bark. "Yeah," she says. "He messaged me. To tell me he couldn't do this anymore. To tell me he was sorry for ruining Christmas. To tell me he needed space and that I'd find someone who could handle my lifestyle." Her throat works around the words like they're shards of glass. "He broke up with me," she says. "By text. On Christmas Day. So unless he's had a change of heart in the last 2 hours and also changed his entire face, that is not him." She points at me like I'm something that's crawled out from under the house. I open my mouth, close it, open it again. "My name is Liam," I say finally. "Liam Carter. I'm so sorry. I came to the wrong address." No one reacts at first. It's like they're still buffering. "I was invited," I rush on, words tumbling over each other, "by my mate from work, Josh. He said to come to his girlfriend's parents' place on Emerald Street. I put it into maps and I must have... I don't know. I typed 243 instead of 234. I thought this was his girlfriend's house. And when Karen answered the door, she just assumed. And I tried to say something. I did. But then she was introducing me to everyone, and you were all calling me Liam like it was normal, and I..." There is a full second of silence. Karen tilts her head. "Josh?" "Yeah, Josh from work," I say, heat creeping up my neck. "He invited me. Said his girlfriend's doing Christmas lunch at her parents'. Told me to rock up at 2:34. My voice dies on the last word, because in my head, with horrible clarity, I see Josh's text. 234 Emerald Street. My heart drops into my shoes. "Emerald Street," I finish weakly. Karen's brows pinch together. "Love, I don't know any Josh." "Neither do I," Peter adds. "This is 243, sweetheart," Michelle says gently. "You sure you're at the right house?" The room seems to tilt, just a fraction. My throat goes dry. Of course it is. Of course I've done that. One little number, one tiny slip of the thumb on maps, and here I am, in the wrong house, holding the wrong wine, breathing the wrong gravy. I should stand up. I should apologize, explain, back out the door, go find the right place, ring Josh and laugh this off later. Classic mix-up. What are the odds? Ha ha, so funny. Instead, I paste on a smile that feels like it might crack and say, "Oh, right. I must have misread. I'm so sorry. I'll just..." "Don't be ridiculous," Karen cuts in. "You're here now." She says it like that settles everything. Like the concept of me leaving is so absurd it doesn't even compute. "But you were expecting..." I start. "Chloe's bringing you, isn't she?" Michelle says. "Well, she was meant to." "Yeah, where is that girl?" Peter grumbles affectionately as he heads back towards the kitchen. "Told her 7 sharp, not chef o'clock." My brain is trying to do too many things at once. Process the wrong address. Process the fact that they were expecting someone. Process the way Karen just said, "You're here now," like that's the only qualification that matters. "Wait, I think there's been a misunderstanding," I say, desperation creeping into my voice. "I'm not..." "Hungry?" Karen says, mishearing me completely. "Course you are. You're skinnier than in your photos, honestly. Come on, have you tried the prawns? Michelle, where'd you put the prawns?" Photos. There are photos of whoever they were expecting. "Karen," I try again, but she's already halfway to the kitchen, my pie in her hands. "Tyler," she calls over her shoulder. "Pause the game. Show him where the loos are if he needs it. And don't make him feel weird, for God's sake." Tyler doesn't look up. "They're down the hall on the left," he mutters. Ron chuckles. "Welcome to the madhouse, son." I sit there for a second, wine glass sweating in my hand, pulse thudding under my skin. This is insane. It's actually insane. I am a fully grown adult with a science degree. I understand hazard analysis and risk assessment. I spend my workdays making sure things don't go horribly wrong in production lines. And yet, presented with one wrong house, one warm living room full of strangers who've decided I'm someone I'm not, my entire risk management system has gone offline. Get up, I tell myself silently. Tell them you're not whoever they think you are. Go find 234. Josh is probably wondering where you are. But when I stand, the old recliner creaks, and Karen's voice floats in from the kitchen. Liam, do you prefer red or white, love? It takes me a second to realize she's talking to me, because she shouldn't know my name. I never told her my name. Unless Chloe did. Unless there's a boyfriend, some other bloke with my face vaguely enough, with my height, with my build, who is supposed to be here right now. Red's great, I call back, my voice wobbling. Perfect. I knew it, she says. Good taste. I sink back onto the couch like someone's cut my strings. Right, I think. So they know the name. They just don't have the right bloke. And you're about to benefit from that administrative error. It's wrong. I know it's wrong. Every nan I've ever had, my own and borrowed, would give me a clip under the ear for even considering it. But here's the thing. For 2 months, I've been just another stranger in a big city. Just another face on the train, another name on an email. No one here has known me long enough to miss me if I didn't turn up. No one's set a place for me at their table. And now, by sheer dumb luck and my inability to read digits properly, I'm in a house that smells like roast potatoes and family arguments, with my nan's pie on someone else's kitchen bench and a glass of wine in my hand, poured by a woman who calls me love without thinking about it. I could walk away from that. Or I could sit here, just for a little while, and borrow it. Just until Chloe turns up, and we all realize the mistake together and have a big, awkward laugh about it. Just until I don't feel like the loneliest person in New South Wales. Stuff it, I think, taking another sip of wine. You're here now. Karen appears in the doorway again, wiping her hands on a tea towel. Liam, love, come on, she says. You said you like cooking, yeah? I need an extra pair of hands with the chook and the gravy. Peter's hopeless. He'll just eat half the stuffing before it hits the table. My mouth opens. You'll be fine, Michelle chimes in. Kitchen's where the real conversations happen anyway. Go on. If you survive Karen's turkey, you're officially one of us. Karen rolls her eyes. Ignore her. My turkey is bloody excellent. Come on, before I change my mind and make you peel the spuds instead. They're all looking at me, expectant, open, like it's the most natural thing in the world that I'd wander into their kitchen and start working on the centerpiece of their Christmas lunch. My feet move before my brain can catch up. As I follow Karen towards the kitchen, past the family photos and the hall table covered in mail and keys and a bowl of empty Minties wrappers, the knot of guilt in my chest tightens. I'll tell her, I promise myself. Once we're in there, once there's a quiet moment, I'll say, Karen, I think you've got the wrong bloke. I went to the wrong address. I meant to be up the road at 234. She'll laugh, call me a goose, send me on my way with a plate of leftovers. It'll be fine. But then we step into the kitchen, and the heat from the oven hits my face, and I see the turkey, perfectly browned, resting on the bench, the trays of vegetables glistening in their own juices, the pavlova base waiting patiently under a tea towel. And I realize something else. I have not been in a kitchen like this, with this kind of chaos,
this kind of warmth, since before Nan died. Right, Karen says, shoving a wooden spoon into my hand like a baton in a relay race. You can start the gravy. Drippings are in the pan, stock's there, flour in that canister. You know how to make a roux? It comes out of me automatically. Yeah, I do. Good man, she says, like it's the most attractive thing she's ever heard. Knew Chloe had good taste. Chloe. The girl I haven't met. The girl whose seat I'm about to occupy at her own table. The girl who, as far as her family is concerned, I already belong to. My stomach flips. Tell her, my conscience whispers. But my hands have already found the butter, the flour, the whisk. Muscle memory takes over where courage fails. The sizzle of fat, the smell of browning flour, the familiar, soothing mechanics of turning scraps into something rich and glossy and essential. I stir. Karen hums some half-remembered carol under her breath as she bastes the turkey one last time. Somewhere down the hall, someone laughs. A cricket commentator's muted excitement floats in from the living room. And for the first time in a long time, standing in a stranger's kitchen in the wrong house on Christmas Day, I don't feel quite so alone.
Karen moves around me like this is a dance we've done 100 times. She's checking trays, poking potatoes, shifting pans, humming under her breath, while I stand at the stove, whisk in hand, pretending I belong there. The fat in the pan spits gently as I add the butter. It melts and goes glossy, pooling around the browned bits at the bottom. I sprinkle in flour, watch it soak up the fat, turn into a paste. My wrist finds the rhythm on its own, figure eights in the pan, scraping up all the flavors stuck to the metal. Oh, look at you, Karen says, glancing over. Low heat, steady hand. You weren't kidding. You do know what you're doing. Bit of practice, I say, keeping my eyes on the roux. It's easier than looking at her. Who taught you? She asks, like it's small talk. Mum? YouTube? Some fancy chef on telly? My Nan, I say, before I can soften it. The word lands heavier than I mean it to. She taught me most of what I know. Karen leans against the counter opposite me, tea towel twisted in her hands. Yeah? She's still up in Brisbane with the rest of your mob? For a second, I can't answer. The lump in my throat comes out of nowhere. I swallow, stare at the pan like the color of the roux is suddenly very important. She passed away last year, I manage. Just after Christmas. The humming stops. The clatter and chatter from down the hall seems to dull for a moment, like the whole house is listening. Oh, love, Karen says, and there's so much simple sympathy in those two words that my vision blurs. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to poke at something sore. It's all right, I say quickly. You didn't know. She a good cook, your Nan? Karen asks, softer now. The best, I say. And this part's easy, because it's just true. She made this pumpkin pie every Christmas. Same recipe for like 40 years. I brought it today. Well, I tried to. Karen's face lights up. That was your Nan's recipe? Well, now I'm really not letting you leave. I've been making the same pav since '98, but don't you go telling anyone. It's all I've got in my arsenal that never fails. I huff out a laugh, blink the sting away. Secret's safe with me. She'd be proud, you know, Karen says, that you're still making her food, that you've got her recipe card in your pocket, probably faded to hell. I freeze for a split second. The card is actually in my bag by the front door, but still, she's close enough it might as well be psychic. Top drawer in the kitchen, I admit. She smiles. Knew it. That's what mums and nans want at the end of the day. Someone to keep the food going. The rest we can live without. I clear my throat and reach for the stock, pouring it in slowly, whisk moving faster now as the roux loosens and thickens into gravy. The smell is instant, roasty, savory, the kind of thing that says home, even if you've never been here before. Karen steps closer, peering into the pan. Oh, that looks bloody beautiful. Still needs seasoning, I say automatically. Listen to him, she calls towards the doorway. Mr. Still needs seasoning. Chloe's not allowed to let you go now, I've decided. My chest tightens. There it is again. Chloe. As if there's already an invisible line between me and a woman who doesn't even know I'm in her house. Speaking of, Karen goes on, turning back to the bench, she's gonna be filthy she missed watching this. She loves a man who can cook. Not that I'm sexist, she adds. I love anyone who can cook. But it does help if they've got nice arms to stir things with. I almost choke. Right, I say weakly. So, she says, casual as anything, you're a bit wasted in finance, aren't you? I stop whisking, just for half a beat. It's barely noticeable, but I feel it all the way down my spine. In finance? I repeat. Yeah, Karen says, like we've talked about this 100 times. Chloe said you were some sort of numbers bloke. Funds or something? I don't pretend to understand. But then you walk in here and make gravy like that? Someone's careers counselor stuffed up, if you ask me. I could correct her. I could say, actually, I'm a food engineer. I work with formulations and product development. I probably think about gravy chemistry more than is normal for a person. Instead, the lie slides out so neatly, it shocks me. I say, in finance. I changed careers. Karen turns, leaning back against the counter, arms folded, giving me a look that's way too perceptive for comfort. Yeah? When was that then? Recently, I say. Very recently. She studies my face for a moment, and I brace for the follow-up, the gentle, "Are you sure you're okay, love? You seem a bit off." Instead, she just nods. Good on you, she says. Life's too short to stay stuck doing something that makes you miserable. Peter wanted Tyler to be an electrician. Kid nearly fainted changing a light bulb. Sometimes you've just got to let people find their own thing. The relief is dizzying. I stir the gravy as if my life depends on it. So, what do you do now then? She asks. With food, you said. I'm a food engineer, I tell her. This part steady because it's the part that actually exists. We work on new products, tweak old ones, make sure things are safe, improve textures, flavors. Kind of like science behind the stuff you see on shelves. Well, that sounds flash, she says, impressed. No wonder this gravy looks like it belongs on telly. She reaches over, nicks the spoon from my hand, and tastes a little. Her eyes flutter shut like she's in an ad. Oh, Liam, she says, and there's genuine delight in her voice. You are absolutely not allowed to break up with my daughter. Do you hear me? I won't permit it. My hand tightens around the handle of the pan. I open my mouth, the confession right there balanced on my tongue. I'm not your daughter's anything. Dinner's ready, Peter's voice booms from the doorway before I can get a word out. Kaz, come on. Shelley's about to nick all the crackling, I can feel it. Karen laughs, pats my shoulder. Bring that liquid gold with you, sweetheart. You've just become the most popular man in this house. She sweeps out of the kitchen with the turkey, leaving me alone with the pan, the whisk, and the weight of everything I haven't said. I stand there for a second, listening to the scrape of chairs being pulled out, the shuffle of feet, the clink of cutlery. A family settling into their places. A family expecting me to fill one of them. Then I lift the pan, take a deep breath, and follow the sound of their voices towards the dining room, still telling myself that at some point, any minute now, I'm going to stop this and tell them the truth. The dining room looks like something out of an old Christmas ad. Big wooden table groaning under the weight of plates and platters, a mismatched collection of chairs squeezed around it, a crooked bonbon at every setting. Someone's shoved a sprig of fake holly into a jar in the middle and called it a centerpiece. Karen takes the turkey to the head of the table, like a prize fighter entering the ring. Peter's already there, carving knife in hand, looking serious about it. Michelle is fussing over a platter of prawns. Ron's settling himself at one end, adjusting his paper crown. Tyler slumps into a chair with his phone, only putting it face down when Karen gives him the look. There's an empty place across from mine, the only one without a person in it. Bonbon, wine glass, neatly folded serviette. Waiting. Waiting for Chloe. Right, Karen says, clapping her hands lightly. Everyone sit. Liam, love, you're here between Peter and Michelle. Best seat in the house, if you like being interrogated. I manage a smile as I slide into my place. Michelle grins at me. Peter pats my shoulder like we're already mates. Looks bloody perfect, Kaz, he says, eyeing the turkey. You've outdone yourself. Well, thank Liam for the gravy, she says, nodding at the pan I'm still clutching. Best I've seen in years. Might have to trade you in, Pete. There's no loyalty in this house, Peter mutters, but he's smiling as he reaches for the knife. I set the pan down gently, like it's the only thing tethering me to the floor. Should we wait for Chloe? I ask, because it feels wrong to start without the person whose empty chair is staring me down. She knows the rules, Peter says, lining up the first cut. Dinner's at 2 on the dot. If she's late, she's late. Chef time, mate. She's never on time for anything that doesn't have a docket. That girl was born 10 minutes past her due date, and she's never caught up. Karen sighs fondly. She'll roll in when we're halfway through and complain we started without her. Like you would have waited if I was late, Ron snorts. Karen swats his arm with a serviette. You're lucky we let you out of the home, old man. They bicker and banter as dishes start circling. Roast potatoes, crisp and golden. Honeyed carrots. A massive bowl of salad because someone, somewhere, has decided we should pretend to be healthy. The turkey slices fan out on a platter, glistening. Michelle heaps prawns into a bowl of ice. Tyler passes the bread roll basket without looking up. Karen tips a generous ladle of gravy over Peter's plate, then Michelle's, then mine. There you go, she says. House special. Moment of truth, Peter says, forking up a piece of turkey and swiping it through the gravy. He pops it into his mouth, chews, and raises his eyebrows. Bloody hell, son, he says around a mouthful. You can stay. Relief tugs a laugh out of me. Glad it passes quality control? Don't say quality control at my table, Michelle groans. Sounds like a work meeting. What is it you actually do, again? Ron asks, squinting at me. Kaz said numbers, then she said food. I lost interest after she said you weren't bringing pudding. He's in finance, Peter supplies. Some sort of spreadsheet wizard. Funds, accounts, what was it? My brain scrambles.
I can feel the lie and the truth jostling in my throat, like two kids trying to get through the same doorway. I was, I say, in finance. I switched. Now I'm a food engineer. Work with formulations and stuff. Make sure your supermarket PAV base doesn't collapse before you get it home. Michelle whistles. Clever. Chloe said you were smart, but I thought she was just being gross. Heat creeps up my neck. It sounds fancier than it is, I mumble.
Nerdy, you mean? Tyler mutters, one corner of his mouth twitching. Oi, watch it, Peter says. We need nerds. Someone's got to make sure your energy drinks don't kill you. He's not wrong, I say. About needing nerds, not about killing people. That gets a laugh. It feels good. Dangerous, but good. We eat. For a while, the conversation flows around me, over me. Stories about last Christmas when the oven broke and they cooked everything on the barbecue. The year Tyler swallowed a 5-cent piece and they spent half of Boxing Day in emergency. Ron's saga about a neighbor's dog stealing the ham in 1983. Normal, ordinary family lore. I answer questions when they come my way. How long I've been in Sydney, 2 months. Where in Brisbane I grew up, north side, near Chermside. If I miss the place. Yeah, more than I thought I would. The answers are all true, which helps. The bits I leave out, I came here because it felt like the only thing moving after Nan died. I haven't made a single real friend yet. Stay lodged behind my teeth. At some point, when plates are half empty and the initial hunger has eased, Ron clears his throat. All right, he says. Before Kaz wheels out the PAV and we all fall into food comas, can we do a quick what you're grateful for round? He says it lightly, like an old joke, but Karen smiles at him like he's just offered her the last roast potato. Dad loves his little gratitude circle, she says. Go on then. Oh, do we have to? Tyler groans. Yes, 3 voices say at once. Ron sits up a little straighter, crown slipping further over his eye. I'll start then. I'm grateful I'm still here. That my heart's still kicking along despite your mother's cooking. Oi, Karen says. And that I get to see all your ugly mugs at least once a year, he finishes. That's enough for me. Michelle goes next. She's grateful for her students at TAFE, for not getting COVID this year, for the fact that they're all together. Tyler, after much eye-rolling, mutters something about being grateful for passing his exams and for his mates not moving away after school. You can tell he means it, underneath the teenage armor. Peter says he's grateful for good health, good food, and that the mortgage is finally gone. Karen says she's grateful for her new part-time hours, for having more time to bake, and for my beautiful kids, even if one of them can't tell the time to save herself. Then it's my turn. Every face turns to me. The empty chair across the table feels like it's watching too. I could play it safe, say I'm grateful for my job, for the good food, for being invited. Keep it light, keep it surface level, don't crack anything open. Instead, the truth tumbles out before I can stop it. I'm grateful for this, I hear myself say. My voice sounds strange in my own ears, shaky but clear. I moved down here 2 months ago, I go on. Didn't really know anyone. My family's all up in Brisbane, and my Nan, she was kind of my person. We used to cook together every Christmas. This is my first one without her. Karen's eyes soften. Peter's hand, which was reaching for the salt, stills. I was honestly dreading today, I admit. The idea of sitting in my flat, eating something sad out of a microwave, pretending I was fine. So when my mate messaged and said, "Come to lunch, don't be on your own," I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. I take a breath. The room is very quiet. And walking in here, I don't know. It reminded me of home. The noise, the smells, people taking the piss out of each other. The way you all just made space. Even though you don't really know me. Even though you didn't have to. My throat tightens. I push through it. So I'm grateful for that, I finish. For not feeling like a complete stranger today. For being included. There's a beat of silence. That's beautiful, love, Karen says softly. Her eyes are glassy. You're always welcome here. You know that. Something twists in my chest. Because no, I don't know that. I can't know that. Not when the entire foundation of this welcome is a misunderstanding. And I feel, very clearly, like the worst person in the world. Right then, Peter says, clearing his throat. Well, I'm grateful for this gravy because he doesn't get to finish. The front door slams somewhere down the hall. All at once, the easy hum of the room is sliced by another sound. The hurried thump of footsteps, the rustle of a bag hitting the floor, a sharp, shaky breath. Sorry I'm late. I step out onto the hot path, the heat hitting me like a slap. The cicadas are still screaming. The sky is still brutally blue. The world hasn't noticed that inside that house, I've detonated someone's Christmas. I sit in my car for a full 5 minutes before I can trust my hands enough to put the key in the ignition. Through the windscreen, I can see the front of the house, the wreath on the door, the faint movement of silhouettes in the dining room. My phone buzzes in the cup holder. It's a text from Josh. Merry Christmas, mate. You alive? Haven't seen you. You bail? I stare at it, then type back. Went to the wrong address. Long story. Everything that could go wrong, did. You guys all done? The dots appear, disappear, appear again. Mate, it's like 8:30, he sends. We smashed lunch, did the beach, now we're on leftovers and beer. Where the hell did you end up? I look at the Mitchell's place one more time. Wrong house, I type. Right family. At least for a bit. He sends back a crying, laughing emoji and, You can tell me on Boxing Day. Glad you didn't spend it alone at least. I put the phone face down, start the car, and drive back to my flat. The pie dish stays behind. 2 days later, I'm at my desk, the fluorescent lights at the office humming just off key, trying to pretend I care about the protein bar formulation report open on my screen. Everyone else is still half on holiday, half in a food coma. The lab smells like cardboard and sugar. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out without much interest, glance at the unknown number, and nearly drop the thing when I read the message. Hi, is this Liam Carter? I swallow, thumb hovering. Yeah, I type. Who's this? There's a pause, then. It's Chloe. Chloe Mitchell. Your fake girlfriend. I stare at the words until they blur. A dozen responses flick through my head, from groveling apologies to wrong number, sorry. In the end, I go with the only honest thing I've got. Hi, Chloe. I'm really, really sorry about Christmas. I should have left the second I realized the mix-up. I wasn't trying to, I don't know, steal anything. 3 dots. Then 4. Then nothing. Then they come back. Mom won't shut up about your gravy, she writes. She says, and I quote, "It was the best bloody gravy I've had in 40 years, and if he hurts you, I'm keeping him." Against my will, a laugh punches out of me, earning a side-eye from the guy in the next cubicle. She's being generous, I write back. It was just flour and fat. Classic scam. Don't let her hear you say that, Chloe sends. She's already framing it like a family legend. The Christmas the wrong bloke made the right gravy. My chest aches in a strangely warm way. She also said, Chloe continues, that your pumpkin pie was criminally good. We finished it that night. There was nearly a fork fight over the last slice. Glad it didn't go to waste, I reply. It was my Nan's recipe. Felt wrong eating it alone. It didn't, she texts. Go to waste, I mean. She'd probably be happy it got demolished by a room full of idiots. She would, I write, before I can overthink it. There's a longer pause this time. I Googled you, she writes. Food engineer at NutriPlus. So at least that part of your story was true. Everything I told you was true, I say. Except the bit where I let your family think I was someone I wasn't. Which is, yeah, the big bit. Minor detail, she sends. Just your entire identity. Yeah, I write. Pretty big detail. Another pause. I'm head chef at Harvest Moon in Newtown, she says. We've been trying to tweak some of our sauces and desserts for takeaway. Shelf life's a nightmare. If you're not a complete psycho, which is still under review, I'd like to pick your brain. Professionally. About food engineering. That's all. My heart is doing something stupid in my chest. Are you asking me out for a work meeting? I send. In a cafe. In daylight. With witnesses. Correct, she replies. Wednesday, 2 p.m., Cafe Allegro on King Street. Do not go to the wrong address this time. I'll triple check, I say. And bring a map. And a backup map. Good, she sends. See you then, Carter.
Cafe Allegro is one of those places that looks like it's been there forever. Mismatched chairs, chalkboard menu, a shelf of battered books no one ever really reads. The air smells like coffee and toasted banana bread. Chloe's already there when I arrive, sitting by the window with a long black and a notebook, hair twisted up in a clip. No chef's jacket today, just jeans and a t-shirt. She looks smaller out of her kitchen, but somehow sharper too. Like all her edges are closer to the surface. For a moment, I hover by the door, feeling absurdly nervous. Then she looks up and catches my eye. There's a split second where I see the Christmas version of her. The tears, the anger, the hurt. And then it flickers away. You made it, she says, as I sit down opposite her. To the right place, even. I'm impressed. Personal growth, I say. I'm learning to read numbers. Slowly. The corner of her mouth kicks up. Progress. We talk. At first, it's mostly shop. Fats, emulsions, stabilizers. The way certain sauces split in takeaway containers and how to fix it. Sugar content versus texture. It's easy, this part. We both know the language. Our hands move in little gestures to explain mouthfeel and viscosity. Then, slowly, the conversation shifts. She tells me about culinary school, about peeling potatoes until her hands blistered, about the first time she sent a dish out that felt like hers and not just her head chef's. I tell her about food science at uni, about late nights in the lab with failed batches of protein bars that tasted like chalk, and regret. She tells me about Blake, eventually. About how he didn't like coming to family stuff. How he always had something on. How she'd spent half a year making excuses for him. I'm not saying this to make you feel better, she says, picking at the edge of her napkin. But my family liked you more in 2 hours than they liked him in 6 months. Low bar, apparently, I say. Extremely low, she agrees. But still. I tell her about Nan. About the way she'd hum when she stirred custard.
about the recipe card in my drawer, about how making that pie felt like opening a door and letting a ghost back in for a bit. She'd have liked Karen, I say. They've got the same energy. Yeah, Chloe says, fondness softening her features. Soft as anything until you mess with their kitchen. Then they'll kill you with a look. We both smile. 2 hours pass without either of us checking the time. When we finally stand to leave, there's a hesitation, a little pocket of space between us that feels like it could tilt either way. Same time next week, she says. I've got a lemon tart that refuses to behave. Could use a scientist. I'd like that, I say. And I mean the tart. And I mean the coffee. And I mean sitting across from her while she talks with her hands. Don't let it go to your head, she says. You're still on probation. Understood, Chef. She rolls her eyes, but she's smiling as she walks away. 6 months later, I'm back on Emerald Street. This time, I park in front of 243 deliberately. This time, I knock on the door knowing exactly who's on the other side. Karen opens it with the same flour-dusted apron, the same bright smile, the same, "Oh, you're here." But now she follows it with, "What took you so long? The potatoes won't peel themselves, you know." It's Sunday, Kaz, I laugh. Not a military operation. Every roast is a military operation, she says. Now get in here. The house smells like slow-cooked beef and rosemary. The aircon's on, but the autumn air outside is cooler now anyway. Softer. There's a footy game murmuring on the TV, Ron grumbling about the ref from his recliner. Tyler glances up from his phone to nod at me, before going back to whatever game he's obsessed with this week.
Peter's in the kitchen arguing with Chloe about whether you're allowed to put peas in a pot roast.
They get all squishy, he insists. It's unnatural. That's literally what cooking is, Dad, she says, making things soft. I lean in the doorway, taking it in. The clatter of pans, the familiar hum. Chloe's bare feet on the tiled floor, her hair up, sleeves rolled. Hey, Carter, she says when she spots me. You reporting for gravy duty? Always, I say. Wouldn't want to let down my biggest fan. From the dining room, Ron's voice drifts in. If that gravy's not as good as Christmas, I'm writing you out of the will. Karen hands me the pan like a coronation. No pressure, love. We move around each other easily now. The dance is second nature. She trusts me with her drippings. I trust her not to let Peter eat all the crackling before it hits the table. At some point, as I'm whisking, she nudges me with her elbow. You know, she says, I'm glad you rocked up to the wrong house that day. I raise an eyebrow. Pretty sure your husband would have preferred the version of events where I didn't impersonate his daughter's boyfriend by accident. You didn't impersonate anyone, she says. You delayed the truth. There's a difference. That is not how that works, Chloe says from where she's chopping beans. Karen waves a hand. Details. The point is, you're here now. She's happy. We get good gravy. Everyone wins. Always about the gravy with you lot, Peter mutters, but he's smiling as he steals a carrot from the pan. Chloe walks over and presses a quick kiss to my cheek, smudging a bit of flour on my face. She's not wrong, she says quietly. I look at her, at the little crinkle by her eyes when she smiles, at the way she fits here and somehow makes room for me, too. Then I look around the kitchen, at Karen fussing over the roast, at Peter pretending not to be soft, at Ron shouting at the telly, at Tyler, who now sends me memes at midnight. At the table in the dining room with one more chair than it had last year, like it was always waiting for someone, like it was waiting for me. Sometimes I think about the version of that Christmas where I typed the address correctly, where I went to 234, met Josh's girlfriend's family, Had a nice enough lunch, went home, never thought about Emerald Street again. In that version, there's no Chloe, no Karen, no Sunday roasts with arguments about peas, no Nan's pie being fought over at a table that feels as much mine as anyone's. All because of one stupid, wrong digit. All because I was lonely and tired and didn't double-check the number on a letterbox. We carry the gravy out together, Chloe and I, careful not to spill. The others cheer like we've just won the premiership. Chairs scrape, plates clink. The room fills up with that familiar, messy warmth. I sit down between Peter and Michelle. Across from me, Chloe drops into her seat, bumps my knee under the table, and gives me a look that says, "You're not going anywhere." And I think, not for the first time, that sometimes the wrong address is exactly where you're meant to end up. If you've ever had one mistake change your life in the best possible way, a wrong turn, a missed train, a message sent to the wrong person, stick around. There are more stories like this. More accidents that aren't really accidents at all.